then those addictions would be like another kind of part, and those are like I know, like the perfectionism and the self-critical parts kind of protect us from pain by preventing it, by like setting up an entire life around, let's not activate the pain in any way. But then you have these other types of parts, and they're called like firefighters actually, that are like, when the pain is activated, they'll get you the hell out of there. And kind of like a firefighter, they'll put out the flames, but they might also knock down the building. So they're not really concerned about if this will mess up your life at all or your family's life or anything. It's just like,
put the fire out.
Get them the hell out of there. You know what I mean?
Which is, and that's like the addictive parts you're talking about. That's so interesting because when the fires, I thought about that a lot, that like when the fires wreaked havoc in our county and we had all those fires, the firefighters, one of the things they would do is they go in and just break all the windows down or open in the houses to where like the heat could flow through. So houses just got destroyed by firefighters so that the house wouldn't burn up. So that's really an interesting perspective where it's like hopefully keeping the pain less, but ultimately it's destroying you in certain ways.
But, and that's the thing, like, and those firefighters, they're heroic, right?
They feel heroic.
Or
lifesavers.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And this is very different than how a lot of, people like look at addiction or all the parts of themselves. But internal family systems is non-pathologizing. So it's even saying, and I know you got that book, No Bad Parts there.
Right.
But it's, in an IFS perspective, we don't demonize even those parts, that knock down the building trying to get you out of the pain.
I know. Yeah. And that's something I've been learning in my life. In this moment. We've talked about it a lot in this podcast, like how much cannabis has been such a godsend, like no pun intended. Mother Ganja has been such a unbelievable support system for my systems and has been the biggest firefighter of my life. And and I'm trying to like take another big break off of it, and it's so fucking hard. And I'm really, really hard on myself. It's like that part of me that doesn't have that firefighter. Right. Or I'm really harsh on the firefighter. And then I'm like all now simultaneously being like, no, it's okay. I'm happy you're here. We're going to get through this. It's like a little bit different, but that's like brand new for me to be speaking. So, and I learned that a lot from my plant medicine retreat last year, which was like becoming a mother so that I can mother all of these things that ultimately have saved my life mentally in like so many ways and spiritually. Right. Like, so it's interesting.
And here's the thing, and we didn't actually talk about this yet, but it's super important, especially with IFS and just who we are, is that, we at our core are a little different, are not our parts. That at our core, we're not just parts that have a job. At our core, we are like, have limitless compassion and courage and confidence and clarity. It's got all these 8 C words, and there's some P words too, like perspective and playfulness and like connection, caring, like that is who we are at our core. And what I do with clients is help them get into that place of them, because the thing is, like, you're never gonna get those addictive parts to stop doing what they're doing by judging them.
Right.
Or critiquing them or saying, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is not working,
Right.
So what I do is I help a client, well, first kind of get to know the part of them that is that harsh with them. And see if that one's willing to kind of relax a little to let us get to know like the firefighter part, the addictive part. But the only way you're going to get to know that is if you can get into the place inside of you that's that compassionate core, that's really curious about it. Not to try and fix it or get rid of it or judge it, but it's like having a conversation with it and learning like why it's actually doing that. Because the truth of it is it's trying to help you in some way. And it actually probably is aware of pain deep within you that you're not even aware of.
Right.
Well, it's like, hey, when when you had this experience recently, it activated this part of you that's like, let's say 6 months old, that was like left in his crib with crying, with nobody to comfort him, and felt like totally helpless and scared and terrified, for example. And that got activated, a week ago. And I was aware of that. And I was like, let's get the hell out of this feeling, And I jumped in and protected you from that feeling, And so there's like this kind of stuff happening in our psyche that we're not aware of.
Even that, like young, like baby, like that's coming out into our adult selves.
That's the thing. And actually, I do have IFS on myself, and I feel, because I'm trained in it, I'm able to go in and heal my own trauma. And not everyone, I'd say a lot of people can't do IFS on their own when it comes to going as deep as healing the trauma.
Having a guide.
But there is a lot people can do on their own to get to know themselves. But yeah, the earliest trauma that I've healed within myself was in utero, as I was being born.
Wow. How beautiful.
And it was the most amazing thing, honestly, that I've ever, it was
like not psychedelics. This is just IFS therapy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, I was getting ready to do a psychedelic journey, and I was feeling this fear. And it was like a panic inside of me about doing that.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I'm sure we all have those for different reasons.
Right.
And that's the thing. I'm not saying it's like has to be healed just because you're afraid. Like there may be some legitimate reasons to be afraid.
Sure. Absolutely.
But for me, it went all the way back to being in utero, about to be born, because when I was born, I was unable to breathe.
Wow.
And so me being able to be with myself in that experience, and kind of witness what that was like for myself to go through that, but then also kind of like rewrite the story of like, hey, like what I needed to hear at that age was that like, hey, the people that are on the outside are gonna do everything
help you breathe,
to help you. Yeah. Just hang in there. And it was profound, and I'm sure I was crying because it was like the message it needed to hear was love will catch you. And it was so reassuring at the deepest level for that little guy. And it allowed him to like be born into love and in my arms, and even my parents, who did do everything to get him breathing again. But it kind of helped me work through the trauma of that. It was the most profound IFS experience I've ever had. I've had amazing ones with a practitioner, but that one on my own with myself was so profound. And so, yeah, I would say, and that's the thing, like, IFS helps us get to places that are sometimes like pre-verbal, or sometimes like, we don't have a conscious memory of this thing happened to me, but it still could be really affecting us and our nervous system. And like we have a part of us hypervigilant because our system remembers, even if we don't consciously remember. So
so what does it feel like to reconnect to that baby that can't breathe that you were saying?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is you have to help, like for clients, I have to help them get into that compassionate state first. Because if you go to the baby and you're like, trying to like psychoanalyze it or, judge it or be like,
you won't get anywhere.
Yeah. Like if you come in like a part of you is like trying to fix it or trying to do something to it. It's different than coming in with this like really open-hearted, compassionate presence that feels safe to you, for one, to go into a potentially into a traumatic experience. Helps you feel safe going in there. But then you're able to provide this like, very open-hearted, compassionate, curious presence to this younger part of you, in a way that helps it helps it feel safe. It helps it feel like, wow, I'm in this scary situation and like someone just came to save me. Someone that's like really loving and caring and powerful, and let's get out of here, but part of that process, so it feels just really safe in the way it works, and there's more to the process than that, and honestly, some people have so much trauma that even to just get to where I described to you guys just now, it might take a long time to get to that point.
Tell me about it. We're on take a long journey.
Yeah, exactly. Well, part of it is just to work with parts that don't feel safe going to the trauma. Like that, just protective parts. Like, and that's just how we're wired. Like our brains do not want us to go to pain, right? We'll do anything to avoid pain.
We hate, we don't want death.
Seriously.
Fear of death, fear of pain.
Yeah. So it's like very counterintuitive to invite like, hey, can you not protect us from pain from a little bit? Can we actually go to the pain intentionally? Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Like not everybody, like it just makes sense that our system would have some fears about that.
Right.
Or just really need a lot of negotiating and safety and feeling our presence and feeling my presence, and that, hey, we're not trying to just go in there and change you or judge you or see how bad it is inside of you. Like we're going to do this carefully and intentionally.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. I know how to go where we're going to go. And so, yeah, it might take people a little bit of time to get to the place where they can trust that where we're going is going to be safe and it's going to help you and you're going to feel so much better. And what you find inside is going to be amazing.
Right.
It's going to be like, you might fear that deep down inside you, it's like bad. It's like evil. There's something shameful about you. There's something wrong with you, Like people are really afraid to see what's inside of them.